You never know where life will take you. It can be hilarious, entertaining, surprising, or even terrifying. Join your hosts, Mike and Courtney, for real life adventures with Eaton on the Go. Life at the Island Podcast.
Hey, welcome to the island.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
It didn't sound like I was on for a second.
Oh, you're always on.
Oh.
Hey, it looks a little different in here, doesn't it?
It does look a little different in here. We've got a new studio.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of something different. So
And we
it's
have
kind of fun.
Matt Miller here
Matt
in our
Miller,
new
welcome.
studio today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're super glad that you're a part of the show this week. That's awesome.
It is exciting. We want to welcome those listening around the world.
Yeah.
6 countries and 31 states.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, in fact, Dublin, Ireland has exploded with listeners, and they are now our top listened city. So how
That's
about
super
that?
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to you.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah. So the drink of the week this week. What we have a guest too. So he actually has a drink of the week too.
Does have a drink of the week.
Yeah.
Should we have him start?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, now he's.
Do you
never
know what you're
tried this.
drinking?
I think this was the one that was aged in the sake barrels.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Betcha. You bet.
The Whistle Pig, was it Boss Hog or
Boss
something?
Hog,
like that? Yeah.
Samurai Edition.
Yes.
Actually, so that's one of my favorites.
Which
I might
did you
add.
see? There's a samurai guy on the top here.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Right? Kind of
Is
fun.
it?
Sorry.
Yeah. So what are you
you can't
drinking?
hear me. Well, let's talk about what you're drinking first,
right.
because the reason that I'm drinking what I'm drinking is
Is
because
because
you're
of me.
drinking what you're
Okay.
drinking.
All right. So let's start with me. So I'm actually doing Heaven's Door. And the reason that I decided to is because it's a partnership with Bob Dylan. I figured, well, we have music on the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. So this actually, each one on the bottle itself, you'll notice, it showcases Dylan's distinctive welding iron gates that he produced in a studio called Black Buffalo Ironworks.
So he does ironwork as well as music.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
No.
That's pretty cool.
It is
new.
pretty cool. There's some cool pictures on his website, actually. I looked him up of him in his his Buffalo Ironworks studio.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
But anyway,
anyway.
it's kind of has a sweet finish and it's good
Tasty.
whiskey. I like it.
tasty stuff. Well,
What about you?
Well, so Heaven's Door is a collaboration between Bob Dylan and the co-founder of Angel's Envy.
Which I did not know that until today.
Yeah.
Until we looked that up.
Yeah.
But I always wondered because the bottles are similar. And of course, the first one that I had was Angel's Envy. And then I thought Angel's Envy and Heaven's Door.
I know,
Kinda
it's kind
cool.
of interesting.
Yeah.
And they do kind of have somewhat similar
They do.
tastes. They're like smoky and vanilla, sweet, but spicy. I really like them.
Yeah, it's very good.
And I think that they use whatever they use whiskey-wise, and then Bob Dylan, whoever
He
his people are,
adds
adds his
a flair
own,
to
his
it.
own flavor to it.
yeah.
So,
Very cool.
yeah. I thought that
So
was
yeah,
kinda
our
cool.
cheers of the week. We have to do this before we get started. This is our tradition. So what should it be? We'll leave that to Matt.
Cheers to you guys having me on the show.
Hey, all right,
I appreciate
I'll drink
it.
Cheers to that.
You bet.
Let's
I
cheers.
can't quite get over to you. Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah. Well, we're just glad that you're here and thankful. So
And hey, sláinte, which is cheers in Gaelic to all our Irish friends.
oh, nice, nice touch. I like
know,
what you did
I
there.
know. Yep.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Isn't
Right?
it? Yeah, it's good.
Isn't it?
It's
It
very
is
good. And if you'll notice,
Yeah.
Courtney and I are sporting our Matt Miller T-shirts, that he
Which
brought
you
us
can
today.
probably buy at any of his shows.
We'll have them out at all the shows. Hats, koozies, all the
that good
stuff.
stuff.
All
So,
the goods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Matt drinks whiskey too. He's got a larceny hat. We'll plug
I
larceny
know. I like
there.
that. I noticed that as soon as he walked in today. So we got to do our perp of the week because that's one of my favorite segments.
Well, of course
you
it
never
is.
know. Being a cop,
Because you're always out perping.
always out perping, and you never know who you're going to run into or what's going to happen. And talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time. According to police, this guy named Joseph McGinnis III, I might add.
Oh.
We don't want to get him confused with the first and second.
Right.
And a guy named Tyree McCoy, they attempted to stage an armed robbery at a pub in Woodland, Maryland.
Like armed, were they going to steal the booze? Or
Well,
the
I don't
money?
know. It doesn't really go into detail, but I'm guessing they wanted money out of the till. But I'd probably grab a bottle of whiskey too
Yeah,
on
me
the
too,
way
for
out.
sure.
But they did that this past September. There was only one problem with their robbery gone awry. the bar was hosting a retirement party for a police officer, and it was filled. It was filled to the brim with off-duty cops. Now, come on. If that happens, you got to know that life is just not going well for you.
No.
It's just not good. I mean, if you can't even successfully pick the right place
to rob
full of cops.
So I bet that didn't go over well for them.
Yeah, needless to say, that did not work.
They got arrested.
Yeah, they did.
They got arrested.
Enough of my perp of the week. Matt Miller joins us. And Matt, we have got to know him a couple years ago. Enjoy your music a lot. And Matt, and for those of you that aren't listening in our area, which is in Illinois, this is where we do our show from. But there is a radio station here, 97.3 River Country, and you are the house band.
Yeah, yep. And been with them for a couple of years now, going on 3 years, actually, I think. So this will be our third year with them, and they've always been really good to us. And they do a lot to support local country music, so that helps out a lot. We'll take all the help we can get.
Yeah.
Which I think that's pretty awesome, especially with radio. Radio is a whole different animal, especially when you're talking top 40 formats and stuff.
Yep.
I did years in radio myself, and you understand how that works, and it's not always easy. So I think that's really cool that they partnered up with you.
Yeah, and they, like I said, they've been really supportive, so anything that we need or they're always throwing on commercials and stuff, and there's no way I would be able to afford that kind of advertising. So it's been a great partnership, and there's a lot of great people that work there, so do lots of stuff behind the scenes that
you bet,
things that I wouldn't have the means to do. So pretty cool.
Well, we want to visit with you, ask you some questions, get our audience familiar with what you do. But would you mind starting out with a song for us and explain a little bit about it, where it came from, and why it means what it does to you?
Okay. I think I'll start out with the Dog Tags, and I wrote this song for my grandpa, or about my grandpa. I was honestly sitting in the garage playing my drums. I started out as a drummer, so I did all the drum tracks like on my album and stuff, and I was sitting there writing a track for another song when this song came to me. So I was like, grabbed the guitar and wrote it real quick, and most of it came out within 10 minutes, I would say, and then like went back and tweaked some of the lyrics, and I was calling my grandma, and I'm like, hey, what was the name of his ship, and this and that. Like, I wanted to throw those details in there. Yeah. So that's how that one came about. I'd been wanting to write one for him or about him for a long time, and it was just one of those, like, I was sitting there doing something else, and it hit, and I'm like, I got to do this right now. Like, I got to write this right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's great.
So this one's about him, and basically him and a couple buddies were driving around after they graduated, and they didn't know what they were going to do. They didn't really have jobs or anything yet. They just graduated, and they were out having a few road sodies, and they're like, we should join the Navy. Like, that sounds like a good idea. So that's what they did. And at my grandpa's funeral, this guy come up, and he was like, introduced himself, and he said, my name is such and such. And he's like, I was one of the guys in the car that joined the Navy with your grandpa that day, and like told me this whole story about it. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I knew this guy was legit because not very many people knew that story. So it was pretty neat. So I'm like, there's a song in there. I got to get a song out of that.
Absolutely. So did you write it after he passed away?
Yeah. Okay. So he passed away in like 93. So it was like long after that, but I'd always wanted to
pay tribute to him. Huh?
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I love that.
So so sitting there messing around on the drums, and this popped into my head, and
and here we go.
Here we go.
All right. Excited to hear it.
Well, he was 18 years old, with nothing to do. Him and his buddies drove down, became Navy recruits. They didn't know what they were doing, but it felt right. Didn't care where they were going, but they loved the country and they were willing to fight. To that USS Fremont he report, finished basic boy and then it's off to New York. That old duffel bag in the book of the Lord, he was off and out to sea, just a young man chasing his dream. Wish I could remember all the stories he told me, oh, if those dog tags could speak. Well, if those dog tags could speak. Oh yeah. When it all began, it was 1951. And all the missions he'd take on that destroyer, good times and the fun. He said, boy, don't you get me wrong, there was some bad times too. Like all those times in that Korean War, when we lost those boys in blue. I remember it like it was yesterday. Then he turned to me, he began to say, well, I was off and out to sea, just a young man chasing my dream. Wish I could remember all the stories he told me, oh, if those dog tags could speak. If those dog tags could speak, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, if they could speak. Now he's here and back from sea, was an old man who lived out his dreams. Wish I could remember all the stories he told me, oh, if those dog tags could speak. He was off and out to sea, yeah, just a young man chasing his dream. Wish I could remember all the stories he told me, oh, if those dog tags could speak. If those dog tags could speak. Oh yeah. Oh, if they could speak. Those dog tags could speak.
Wow, that was great.
That was amazing. It's like our own private concert here. I love this.
I know, man. What a great song. That has a tremendous story,
It really
and that's what I
does.
love about it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites probably, if
Yeah.
not my favorite.
That's
that
good,
is-
and it just reminds you, like, you know, your grandparents and your parents and what stories they have to
Right.
tell, and listen to them, because I think sometimes as kids you're like, oh, I got to go to grandma's or grandpa's or whatever, and it just, as you get older, you appreciate
Yeah.
the history that you came from. So I
I
love
was
that.
about 8 years old when he gave me his dog tag, and of course he had two of them, so he gave one to me and one to my other cousin, and it was hanging there, and they were just hanging on his toolbox. We were out in the garage working on something, and I was like, "Hey, can I have that?"
Yeah.
He's
No
like,
doubt.
"Yeah." He's like, "Yeah," because he had the one that went to my cousin later. He always had on his keychain.
Oh, wow.
So the extra one was hanging. And I was like, "Can I have that?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I had still have it, but I wore it for a long time. And then when I enlisted, it was pretty cool to have my grandpa's and mine.
heck yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty neat. And so I wore them both for a long time. And then, long story short, got into a car accident, and I couldn't find them.
Oh,
and
no
they
kidding.
ended up being in the truck later when I went to get stuff out of the truck. So then I was like, we're done. We're putting them in the drawer at home, and they're not coming back
wanna
out.
lose
'Cause
them
I almost
again.
lost them.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you want to keep them with you, but then you're afraid,
Right.
man, I don't want to lose this.
Yeah, after that, I was like, no, they're gonna stay in a safe spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I don't blame you.
Well, I did not know that. What branch were you in?
The Air Force.
You were.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Very cool.
What inspired you to get into music? And I mean, when did you start playing, I guess?
I started playing drums when I was like 6. So I
Okay.
started taking drum lessons at about 6 years old. And I was a drummer like all through high school, junior high band, high school and stuff. I don't think I picked up a guitar probably like my freshman year in high school.
No kidding.
And
Okay.
And a buddy of mine, so we had this like little garage band, but we couldn't find a singer. Like nobody would sing. So I was like, I could probably sing. Like I thought,
See what happens,
I know enough that I think I'm okay enough. So my buddy that was the guitar player, he's like, because I was the drummer, so he's like, I could probably play the drums. And we actually found a better guitar player. So everybody kind of switched roles. And like that's how the singing thing started. And the only reason I ever picked up a guitar was to learn my singing parts.
Oh,
And then the more I played, I'd be home at night and I couldn't play my drums once my parents went to bed, but I
Sure.
could pick this guitar up. So I was started messing around more and more, and here we are.
There you are. That's pretty
So I
sweet.
started out as a drummer, and that's kind of always where my heart is, I think.
Yeah.
The drums are set up at the house, and I play them almost on a daily basis.
Do you
Still.
really? Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to
Just
do
to-
what you love.
But yeah, and sometimes it's that's my release. So I'll go out and play the drums and clears my head for a minute, and then I'm like, all right, cool. Now I can get back
Yeah.
to doing whatever.
Yeah, right, yeah.
If you're stumped on writing a song, I'm like, I just need to go rock out on the drums real
There you
quick.
go. Is there an other artist or a person that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jamie Johnson was a big one for me, I think. When In Color and that whole first album and stuff came out. I knew of him before that, just from him writing songs for other people. But I think when that album came out, that was a pretty this is some real solid, good old country, and
Yeah.
his voice is super cool.
Yeah.
I
It is.
really
It
like
is.
his voice a lot. So we actually went and seen him the Wednesday before we left to come back
Oh,
from
yeah?
Florida.
Oh,
So
nice.
He was in St. Pete's at this place called Janus Live. I don't know
Oh,
if you
that's
guys
cool.
know where that is, but it's right downtown, and it's this back courtyard area, and it's the back end of all these apartments, and they all go into this courtyard, and they just set up a stage that holds
Oh my
1,500,
gosh.
2,000 people in
That's
there.
that's
that's
pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, so we just got back from Florida, and actually Matt was in Florida the week before we were. So
Yeah, so playing some shows and doing some things down there.
yeah.
yeah, I went down and played with the buddy down there, a couple shows, and hopefully we'll have a bunch more coming up this year, and go down there and spend some time down there. So
Where it's warm, right?
yeah.
What's been a highlight of your music career so far? I mean, when you play music, I was in the music business, not as a musician, but you meet a lot of different people. You go a lot of different places, and there's some highlights, there's some disappointments, there's all kinds of things that mix in with it. But what would you say would be a highlight so far?
We played down on the riverfront with Trace Atkins a couple years ago. There was 5,000 people there, so that was pretty cool. We'd never played a show that was that big yet. And he was super cool. And I met a guy named Adam Warner who also played that show with us. And he's from Illinois, lives in Nashville, and he's really gaining some steam and got some really good music out there. So me and him have become pretty good friends and stayed in touch. So that was probably one of the coolest shows that we played or ever. It was a big show, but everybody was super nice and super helpful, and nobody acted like they were bigger than you, or everybody treated everybody really
Yeah.
nice. So it was nice. You don't get a lot of shows like that. So
Sure.
that one, and then Dallas Moore. I always like playing with Dallas. He's just one of the best guys that you'll ever meet, and always have fun and same kind of deal. Is it's you never know what to expect on his shows. And those guys are just really good too. So
Yeah.
those probably be the two highlights.
So far.
So far, yeah.
Right.
We'll have some good ones this year at the Tailgate and Tall Boys.
Yeah,
so.
that's great. So you're playing at Tailgate and Tall Boys.
Yeah, we'll
this
be
year.
there on the August 1st date.
Okay.
So
Yeah, nice.
Great. Which Tailgate and Tall Boys is moved locations this year,
yes,
correct?
it's in Taylorville this year.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
so,
what I thought.
Which will be pretty cool, I think. It's out there at that off-road park, and
You bet.
they'll have trucks and four-wheelers, and you can camp. And so we'll be with Whiskey Myers and the Steel Woods and those guys that day. So
Yeah.
it's more of like
Should be
the
a fun
Southern
day.
rock country kind of day,
Yeah.
which is like right up my alley.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you bet.
Has country music always been your passion? Is that what you've always played?
I've always liked country music. I played in rock bands
Okay.
for years when I was in high school and stuff, because there just like wasn't any country stuff around. Like there was very few country cover bands, and the ones that were around didn't play. They might play like once a month or something like that. So yeah, it was always like rock bands in the 90s and the 2000s for a little bit, But I started paying more attention to country stuff like probably early 2000s, and from a songwriter's point, like I always lyrically wrote more country stuff, so my music was always a little bit heavier on the rock, southern rock kind of side, but lyric-wise was always country stuff, so I think it just kind of
formed, right?
formed, because
Yeah.
I would be out playing and everybody's like, man, you should be a country, like you should push it more towards the country stuff, and I'm like, really? I don't know, and I kind of got pushed that way by the fans, really. Like, this is where you should be and what's what you should be doing, so did a lot of the rock stuff for years, especially in the bands that I played the drums in,
Right.
Sure.
because that was like up my alley. I wanted to
You're
be
rocking
rocking
out,
the
yeah.
drums, So
Well, I play the air drums. I mean, it's like, I don't know, I'm driving down the road, I think I'm a heck of a drummer. Well, I got to tell you, as you being a musician, but also a songwriter, that is a big deal. Especially when you can write a song that flows and you put it to music, and like that last song, I really, really liked that. But there are a lot of artists out there that sound great, but they don't have the ability to write their own songs. And so that's one thing that I admire about what you do in your music, is that you do write a lot of your own music.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's totally different because there's a lot of good singers out there, or artists out there that, can sing and play way better than I can. But, that we've had conversations like this a lot with some of them that they're like, I don't know how you write. And I'm like, well, I don't know how you sing like that. But, I'm like, and the writing part for me, I think like it gets frustrating sometimes, but sometimes you just got to like take a step back and go do something else and come back to it, because if you try to force it,
Play your drums.
Yeah, exactly. So if you try to force it, I usually end up, whatever I like force out, I go back and like, oh, those lyrics were terrible. I don't, scratch them out and start over. So I've learned to where like not to even waste my time. Like if it's not happening right now, it's not happening, and
Don't force
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
go do
I mean,
something
I can't
else.
even write a poem. So, I couldn't imagine, writing a song. It's an artistic ability to be able to, come up with these stories and themes, if you will, and put them on paper, and then to make them actually sound good. So,
And some of them, like some of them take 10 minutes, and some of them took 2 or 3 years. Like I would start it at one point and then walked away, and 2 years later, I'm like, oh, that one half of that song that I've always liked but could never finish, now I can finish it.
I
Like,
got it.
yeah.
I got the ending.
yeah. Well, because don't you think some of it is, maybe you start it and then you have to live it, and then
Yeah.
you can finish the song.
Yeah. It's, there's a new song be coming out this year called The Drinking Song, and it's actually up on the website right now.
I will listen to it
And
today.
that song was one that I started like 3 years before it ever got finished.
Really?
And I was just like, I don't know. I kind of threw it back. I'm like, well, I'll get to it someday.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, 2 or 3 years of experiences and things happen, and you're like, I totally know how to finish that song now.
I've been around. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Not in a good way, really, but it turned out all right. But But I think that's, a lot of what goes into songs is things that you probably, like, wow, that wasn't a very good decision, but I learned from it. So as long as I learned from it,
I'm going to write a song about that.
Right.
Okay, I got a question.
Oh, this will be good.
Do you sing in the shower?
Do I sing in the? No, I don't actually sing in the shower. No.
Okay. Well,
Courtney does.
Maybe every once in a while, like if I'm like where you're like, oh, I was sick all week and I don't really know if I'm gonna be able to sing this weekend, but I'll still usually like go out and pick the guitar up and like try it that way and go, ooh, definitely can't do those songs tonight, because your voice isn't all the way back. But so no, I guess not really.
Okay.
Well, Courtney sings the same song in the shower every day, Suds in the Bucket by Sarah Evans, over and over and over. But it's beautiful, hon. Beautiful.
I know. I sound way better in the shower.
Very angelic. It's very angelic. But, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because Miranda Lambert just, last week or the week before had to cancel a bunch of shows because she was having problems with her voice and stuff like that. And that's something that you don't think about a whole lot. But as a musician, that is very important. Just like your hands to play the guitar. I mean, you got to be able to sing. And if you can't, what do you do,
Yeah. I always try to have songs, like backup songs, if your voice isn't 100%, like, all right, well, if we're not doing these tonight, we'll do these over here because they're easier, maybe on your voice to sing or, I mean, that's one thing that you always like try to watch what you do or who you're around, or if you know that this sickness is going around, like stay away from everybody because, you book shows, we have shows now that are booked out, to October and November already. So it's like, I don't know what I'm going to feel like in October and November.
Yeah.
But so you
got to stay healthy.
You just got to stay
Speaking of that,
healthy.
I got to get you at
water.
the Pumpkin Festival this year.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that.
We can do that. I would love to do that.
Tried to last year, but he was all booked up.
I know. Well, he's a popular guy.
I know
Well,
he is.
I want to have you sing one more song, and because we're about out of time, and then for those that subscribe on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with us. But we'll have Matt do another song, and for those that watch on YouTube, be kind of some bonus features for them. But we'll have you do another song, and then we'll talk about how people can listen to music, buy your music, that kind of stuff. But what's this next song about, and what's the story behind it, if you will?
All right. This next one, I'll do "Save My Soul." It's probably another one of my favorite ones. This was actually like the first song, first real song that I ever wrote, as far as like my stuff, or it was the first song that went on the album, the last album, and it was the first one that I really just wrote start to finish, and I was, wow, that's actually like pretty decent. So I should maybe I should start writing another one, but it was one of those too where like I had the idea for it floating around for like 6 or 8 months, and then finally it was like, oh well, one day I just sat down and the rest of the lyrics came out. Aww. So
awesome.
This one's called "Save My Soul." Well, Lord, I'm heading down this road. Know it's wrong, but it's all I've ever known. Sending up a prayer for you to try to save my soul. 'Cause this pedal's all the way down to the floor. Take me away from here. You know that I don't need this and gotta drown my fears. Someday I hope to save me aside to save my soul. 'Cause I'm running out of dirt at the end of this old road. No, it seems so easy, but I already know that I can't do this out here on my own. On my own. On my own. Reaching out for that helping hand. Trying to change my ways and doing the best I can. Lord, you know it's killing me, trying to be a better man. But you're the from here. Know that I don't need this, gotta drown my fear. Someday I hope to save me aside to save my soul. 'Cause I'm running out of dirt at the end of this old road. No, it seems so easy, but I already know that I can't do this out here on my own. On my own. On my own. Take me away from here. You know that I don't need this, gotta drown my fear. Someday I hope to save me. Things will change, I ain't going back. 'Cause we both know that there's no good in that. Looking up ahead now, down a brand new road. Send me a sign, try to save my soul. Take me away from here. Know that I don't need this, gotta drown my fear. Someday I hope to save me aside to save my soul. 'Cause I'm running out of dirt at the end of this old road. No, it seems so easy, but I already know that I can't do this out here on my own. On my own. On my own. Got to save my soul. You got to save my soul. Yeah. 'Cause I can't do this on my own. Oh, no. Save my soul.
Oh man, that was
Good.
great.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That was super. Well, we're about out of time, but I'm sure there's people that are listening or watching that would like to learn more about you or buy a CD or do you even buy CDs anymore?
Yeah.
You can if you come out to a show. Yeah, we got physical copies. We're out right now, but we'll have some more here by the time we do our next full band
Awesome.
show.
And you have a website?
Yep. Yeah. So the website is buymattmiller.com. So BUY. Matt Miller was already taken, and the guy wanted like $10,000 for the domain.
figures.
So
We'll figure something
I
else
bought
out.
the $12 one that was buymattmiller.com. So like all the shows through like May 8th, I think right now are on the website. If they're ticketed shows, you can get tickets there. And then everything on social media is also by Matt Miller. So at Facebook, it's by Matt Miller, and Instagram. And
Excellent.
if you go to the website, you can pretty much get to everything from the website. So
Well, super. Well, thanks for joining us. Before we go, we always do our pod quote.
We do.
And that always falls into Courtney's territory. She always comes up with great pod
I do love
What
quotes.
do you have for us?
Well, Matt, I actually found this quote on your Facebook page.
Stalker.
Okay.
She's a stalker.
I was stalking. I love quotes. I'm like,
Right?
all right, this is a good one. Sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. Do you remember posting that one?
yeah, I do. Yeah.
There's probably a story behind that, but we don't have to ask you. I just think it's a great quote. So thank you for
Well, thank you guys
Having
for
that.
having me.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for
been
coming
fun.
on the show. And like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, stick around. There's some other. We'll do another song if that's all right.
Yeah,
some bonus
yeah.
content. And and of course, always check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Watch us on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you on our email.
That's right. Sounds good.
You're supposed to give that.
Oh, I'm supposed to give our email. Oh, because he messes it up all the time.
I did. The other day on the show, I kept saying "eating at the go," and I'm like, what? That doesn't sound. And she's like, no, that's not right. And so I got all flustered and I said it again. I said the exact same thing again. So
our
ahead.
email is eatononthego@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you.
Very good. All right. Well, we're out of time. Thanks again, Matt, for being a part of their show.
Glad to have
Thanks
ya.
for having me.
We'll talk to you next Sunday. Take care and have a great week.